Hello and welcome back to the Fans Edge podcast, your monthly home for discussion on games, TV, film, and everything in between. As usual, we're your hosts, Joe, and the man who has died more than Rory Williams, Tom. Tom, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I have died more than Rory Williams in Jedi Survivor, which I think that's a reference to. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so look, today we will be talking about August's game releases, Gamescom, Warhammer, and Star Wars Outlaws. So, got a few things to be going through. But Tom, let's start off by talking about what we've been up to this month. What have you been doing?
Well, in terms of gaming, some of my usual stuff, but I've also been doing a lot of playtests. There's been a lot. Marvel Rivals, which is the sort of Marvel hero shooter that was in the playtest. That playtest lasted quite a few weeks, actually. I think I put like 20 to 30 hours into it, but it was really good fun.
Nice.
I also playtested the open beta of Concord that came out. So that's a 5 vs 5 hero shooter from PlayStation Fireworks Studios.
Okay.
That came out this month as well. Not the best game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I also did Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. I playtested that recently. I'm under NDA. I can't say anything about what's in there for that one. That's under an NDA.
I don't want to know.
Yeah. I have opinions of that, but I can't share them. I also did Mecha Break, which is a mech-based sort of shooter. It's sort of it's a multiplayer. It's like hero shooter, but I don't really want to call it a hero shooter because it's not really. It's just mechs that have different abilities. So you could classify it as a hero shooter, but it's not like your first person because it's third person, if you get what I mean.
Would a comparison not be maybe Mech Warrior?
Potentially. I've never played that, so I wouldn't know.
Oh,
but it's basically each mech has a different sort of class and different. So I played being a support person, I played the support who heals everybody and all that kind of stuff. There's snipers and yeah, it basically has a class system. So that was a bit of fun. That's coming out next year, I think. There was a Gamescom trailer for it as well. And I also did Delta Force playtest, which has been happening at the moment. That's a game you've been sort of interested in. If you remember. Yeah. I'm going to be talking about Delta Force later anyway, because it was part of Gamescom. But yeah, in terms of watching, I started watching The Rookie. And and I binge watched all 6 seasons in like 2 weeks. And there's season 6 currently ongoing. The final one's the last week of August. So yeah, the last episode.
Wow.
Now, I also finally watched Fast and Furious.
Oh, I still haven't seen that actually.
Yeah. Do you know what? I keep getting these shorts of The Rookie, so I thought I'm desperate. I wanna watch it. So I got my subscription for Now TV for just a month. That's why I was so desperate to try and get rid of it through it all. But the show is so good, and Now TV also has Fast and Furious, so I thought I'll do that at the same time. I'm not planning to continue my subscription. It's just going to be for a month. So yeah,
no, that's totally fair.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And then there's a new season coming out in January, so that's when I'll renew it when all the episodes are out, and then I'll just binge watch that and then cancel it. Yeah. But that's me for the last month.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I've had a much less active month. I'll be honest. We'll start with the fun bit. I've watched Deadpool and Wolverine this month.
Oh, nice.
That was great. Absolutely loved that. I have also been watching Blue Bloods. I've finally found a way to watch it again, so I'm going through that slowly but surely.
How have you? What you watching it through? I'm assuming Paramount Plus.
No, I refuse to pay for Paramount Plus.
Oh.
I have found episodes on the interwebs.
Oh, okay. Well, I do like Blue Bloods. I have not watched it in a while. Maybe I think there might be a new season or two that I need to catch up on.
Yeah, well, it's finished now, hasn't it?
Oh, has it?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, I don't know if they've released the final episodes yet, but they're basically not making anymore.
Well, I need to catch up then because I really like that show as well.
Yeah, and I mean, a bit like you with the Rookie, and actually I've seen the shorts for the Rookie as well, but what got me onto Blue Bloods was seeing loads of shorts and reels for that.
Yeah, that was the same with Blue Bloods for me as well. I've not really. Yeah. I watched all the seasons up to the point where it was they had it, and then I've not touched it for a very long time, so I sort of need to go back to it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm catching up on that. I'm not getting through it very quickly, I must admit, but I'm enjoying it as it goes. I've been playing a little bit of Red Dead Redemption 2.
I've got
look into that. Because that is my evening I need to unwind because I have props again.
Oh dear.
I bring props to these podcasts now. I've been doing this beeping thing. I have an exam. Actually, when you watch/listen to this, it will be tomorrow is my exam. For me, now, at time of recording, I have 4 days. 4 days, I think. And I am the big stress. Financial services regulation and ethics is not fun, apparently.
It doesn't sound fun.
Who knew? Tom,
it sounds really boring.
I'll open it at a random page, Tom, give you an idea, and for our viewers at home, it's just words, and it's all in black and white. There's nothing. I don't like it.
They couldn't
just
just put
it anymore.
Couldn't they just put like a picture of a pound note somewhere? You know,
a pound note.
Yeah, pound note.
That's not a thing.
Well
done, Tom.
£5 note.
You did about as well there as I think I'm doing on this book. So yeah,
that's a thing.
Basically, my month has been going through that thing and tearing my hair out because I am the big stress, and I'm not sure how Thursday's going to go, but we'll see.
But anyway, that's why I'm here to drag you from it and talk an hour and a half about games.
All right, we'll do that then.
No more talk about that. No more.
No
more.
All right, fine.
Your brain needs a break. It does. It needs a break. It needs to get the mind off it.
All right. Well, in that case, let's move on to what's coming out this month, or what has come out this month.
Yeah. So first of all, we've got a re-release. Sort of, it's kind of a remaster of the old Star Wars Bounty Hunter game that came out on the 1st of August. It's from our favourite developers, Aspire.
Oh dear.
It does have positive reviews, which just proves to tell that they are really good at doing the single player stuff, just not so good at releasing the multiplayer remasters at all.
Are they good at the single player stuff though?
They've done good on the Tomb Raider remasters as well. That had really good reviews about it as well.
Okay. Just whilst we're on Star Wars Bounty Hunter, actually, I saw a post from PlayStation the other day talking about how this had been released and obviously encouraging people to pick it up because they've added in, and I'm going to quote you from the tweet here, they've added in Jango Fett's father, Boba Fett. What's wrong with that sentence, Tom?
That's not the right way around.
Yeah. And the whole comment section under it was just, I think you guys have got this one wrong. You might want to check your facts there.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
Django's son. And then there was a tweet from them underneath, or a post from them underneath. It was just like, yeah, sorry, realised my mistake. Just going to leave it there because it's funny now. They were like, yeah, do you know what? Just going to own it. It's fine. Which I respect them for, but it just amused me that they got it wrong. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so that's for all the platforms. I'm going to list them all.
Oh.
PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch. Literally all the platforms.
I was not expecting last gen on there.
I mean, it's a re-release from how many years ago? You might not expect it, but it will run on it. Which, that's expected.
Yeah, no, I remember having the original on GameCube.
I never played it. But yeah.
Oh.
Another one that's coming out on 1st of August is a game that I saw Squirrel stream the other day as well. Because I know you mentioned before the podcast you saw and streaming SnowRunner. But this is a game called Car Manufacturer, and it's in PC Early Access, and it is a automotive tycoon automation sim that you start in the 20th century. It also has a demo on Steam, so I think that's quite interesting, and I might have a go at the demo, because that's my sort of thing. Now, the next game is took me by surprise. What if I told you, Joe, Warhammer has a vehicle racing game?
How did I miss this? What?
Yes. I was like, there are vehicles in Warhammer that you can race. It's called Warhammer 40k Speed Freaks. It is a free-to-play PC game. So it's classed as a vehicle combat racing game. It's more the vehicle combat game, a bit like maybe Twisted Metal or something. And I quote, "This will make more sense to you than me. In the 41st millennium, a cult of unhinged, speed-obsessed orcs addicted to racing has gathered to engage in raucous and breakneck races during rare lulls between open warfare." That's the little synopsis.
No, that seems that lore accurate.
Yeah. So
basically,
yeah.
For our non-Warhammer friends here.
That's me. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just installing the game. Don't worry.
Right now.
Yeah. I've just gone and added it to my library. It's downloading. Basically, the orcs live for what they call the Great War. WAAGH. And they like to scream "War" as they walk into war. Except when there isn't a war for them to fight, they need something else to keep them busy. So they build wacky cars, strap guns and rockets to it to make them go faster, of course. Paint it red because red makes it faster. And then they go and attack each other and smash their cars into each other. If the orcs aren't fighting, they're basically dead. They're not, but they feel that way. So they go and fight each other, and the biggest one comes out on top, and he becomes the big boss. So this is thematically perfect, and I have downloaded it to play it because I want to be an orc in me orky car.
Yeah, I was just very much surprised that Warhammer had like a racing game. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah. No, there used to be a tabletop of Speed Freaks as well. It must be like a sort of inspired by that, I guess. But it's the thing. So
maybe I need to check that out because racing games and vehicle combat games is something I'm interested in. Yeah.
It's like, you remember Wacky Racers?
Yeah.
Yeah, take that and turn the dial up to 11.
Yeah, as I said, I feel like it's a little bit like Twisted Metal, isn't it? Where it's more vehicle combat focused than actual racing.
I say 11. What I mean is 11,000.
No, you mean 40,000. So you've missed a trick there.
I did think about it, but I thought it might be too on the nose. But no, actually, I'm just watching the trailer. It looks great. I want to play it.
Yeah, so that came out on the 6th of August. On the 9th of August was a game that came out that was discussed on a Tuesday night trucking stream called Supermarket Together.
Yes.
So this is for the PC. It's a supermarket sim, and it's free to play, and it's up to 16 players. And you can do it solo if you want as well. But basically, more players in your supermarket, the more demanding customers will become. Now, I think it was called Supermarket Simulator, wasn't it? Which was more of the single player thing. Something like on the sort of same lines as, I don't know, something like PC Building Simulator and stuff like that. But this is obviously a different one. Right. I know you said you wouldn't play it because PTSD from when you were working in a supermarket, but I have a feeling this could be really good. Just havoc with loads of people.
Yeah, I'm getting flashbacks. I'm watching the trailer. I'm just getting flashbacks.
I just think that's it's one of those quirky kind of goofy games that you can just mess around with friends. Yeah. So if that interests you, by all means, you can it's no cost to you because it's free. So the next game that came out is probably the most anticipated game this year, Black Myth Wukong, and it is for PC and PlayStation. It's actually delayed on the Xbox X and S. I'm not sure the reason. Optimization, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. It is an action roleplay game. It's inspired by the classic Chinese novel Journey to the West. And basically, this is very much focused around China, which means all the Chinese players will be playing it. Which is why this game, on day one, blew up every single Steam record in 24 hours. 2.5 million concurrent players of peak in its first day, which has beaten CSGO. And as you probably know, CSGO has been at the top of the Steam concurrents for God knows how long.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is when China goes to sleep, there's like 2 million players. The player count just dips.
Just drops off.
And then they all wake up again and they start playing it again.
Wow.
That's not to say people from Europe aren't playing it. It's just the majority will be from China. But yeah, huge record, basically.
Wow.
3 days later, Concord came out, 20th of August. Now, I mentioned Concord. I did a bit of an open beta. It's for PC and PlayStation. It's the 5 vs 5 hero shooter based in space. And, on the first day, it had 600 concurrent players as its as a complete comparison to Black Myth Wukong. Yeah, the players are just not the players. The characters are just uninspiring. They're just boring, ugly. One's a trash can, basically, as a tank, garbage compactor, whatever it is. It's very. The problem they have is they've released this is a paid 5 vs 5 hero shooter in a market where the likes of their competitors, so Overwatch, maybe you could compare it to maybe Valorant or something like that, any sort of hero shooter, are free to play. Why would I pay I think it's 30 quid or $40 in the US that when I can go and play Overwatch for free?
Yeah.
Back in 2016, this would be fine because that Overwatch 1 was paid, if you remember. But in today's market, I think this is Sony and PlayStation trying to get a 5 vs 5 hero shooter out there, but it's just not working. It's just not worked at all. And there's not a lot of people. I had sort of some fun with the gunplay and stuff, but I only put maybe 2 hours in the open beta, and I was like, I probably won't actually play this. People who pre-ordered like the deluxe edition had their own closed beta, but when there was open beta, do you know how many players there were when it was free? It was 2,000 players, probably max, during that open beta. So it wasn't a lot, and that was just on Steam. We can't see the PlayStation stats, but it's not done well, and it's not had a huge reception either. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah,
it's not done well. It's not done well at all. On the 27th of August, you've got Smite 2, the sequel to Smite, which is the third-person action MOBA. I think everyone in gaming has sort of heard of it. I've never played it, but I think everyone's sort of heard of it. It's coming out of PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. If that interests you, if you're a MOBA player. The next game is going to be Game of the Year. It's Game of the Year, this one. On the 29th of August, it's the best game ever. Squirrel with a gun! It's Game of the Year. It's going to beat Black Myth Wukong and everything. It's going to be Game of the Year, come Game Awards in December. Yeah. It is a sandbox shooter and puzzle platformer. What?
I keep seeing adverts for this thing, trailers, and it just looks hilarious.
As soon as I found out about this game, I'm like, add to wish list. This is it's on the same goofiness as Goat Simulator, but
That's
better.
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Although I'm not going to talk about it when I get to the Gamescom bit. This had a trailer at Gamescom actually, because it was announcing it was coming to console as well. So I think it'll be coming to PC and Xbox. Can't remember if it's coming to PlayStation as well. But yeah, it's coming out on the end of the month. Score of a gun. And I just love the sort of Arsenal trailer as well, with rocket launcher and sniper rifle and Deagle, and it's great. It's just one of those games that's just funny. You can be a good nice squirrel and be friendly to people, or you can cause havoc, which is great.
Why would you?
I know, but it does give you sort of nuts to collect, because that's the sort of currency in the game, obviously, because squirrels like nuts. Yes. Yeah.
Don't call it a squirrel with a gun and give me that option and tell me, oh yeah, you can play nicely. No, I'm not going to play nicely. I am a squirrel with a gun. Honestly, give your head a wobble.
It's just an option how you want to play. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a game I really want. It's just yes.
It does look funny as hell.
Then one day later, 30th of August. Oh yes, my most anticipated game of the year. I've been excited for this. Star Wars Outlaws, coming on PC, Xbox and PlayStation. It is an action-adventure game. You play as a scoundrel in the Outer Rim. I'll be talking about Star Wars Outlaws later, so stay tuned, because it's getting very exciting, and I can't wait, because, by the time the podcast is out, Early Access will be out for it, if you paid for the Gold Edition.
Oh, yeah.
Which will probably mean I'll be already playing it. So, yeah. Yeah, that's the gaming releases for August. Shall we talk about Gamescom?
Let's move on to it.
Yeah, let's talk about Gamescom. So, Gamescom is the annual thing in Cologne, Germany. And, oh, by the way, can you guess, give me a guess of how much money it costs developers to show a trailer? Give me a number.
Hang on, I need more context here. Are we talking just for them to be able to display it at Gamescom, or are we talking about the cost that goes into creating something ready for Gamescom?
Just for them to show a trailer at Gamescom.
10 grand.
No. You need to add another zero to that. It is $100,000. Yes. Wow.
Jesus.
Now, to convert that into pounds, that's roughly £75,000. And do you know what you can buy for £75,000? I can buy a Ford Mustang Dark Horse 10-speed automatic for that. That is the most expensive Mustang you can get as of right now in the UK. And you can have some pocket change, because that is £67,000. Alternatively, you could spend that money on development costs and not show your game at Gamescom. But,
Yeah, but it's good marketing, isn't it?
It is. Gamescom is a big event. It is a big event. It's probably
that's what it comes down to.
I think it's now the biggest one out there, I think, in terms of gaming events now, because of the death of E3. This has taken the crown. Yes,
that's just what I was thinking. Yes,
we have things like Summer Games Fest, but they're more sort of the more developer-focused showcase as well, because you've got the Summer Games Fest, and then you've got the sort of Xbox showcases and stuff like that. But yeah, in terms of an what's the phrase? In-person event, it will be Gamescom. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Maybe one day we can go. Maybe one day. That'd
be cool.
But not yet. So yeah, the structure was this. They did the opening night live with Jeff Haley, who obviously hosts the Game Awards in December. And it was very much structured like Summer Games Fest. It was just 2 hours of pure games. And I'm sort of glad that you were sort of doing your studying on the Tuesday, because it meant I could go and watch Gamescom, which started at 7 and lasted till 9 p.m. anyway. So I probably wouldn't have been doing Tuesday Night Trucking anyway, because I wanted to watch this. And then throughout the week, there were other live streams. They started, I think, at like 3 p.m. or 2 p.m. in the afternoon for us. And it was sort of these panels. There was IGN there doing the panels. There was the Xbox sort of team doing the panels. And they were just talking to the devs about the games. And some of them have some developer insights and some extended gameplay that we saw. I'm not going to go through everything, because if I was to go through everything, we would be here all day. So I'm going to pick some highlights. The first one was actually in the pre-show, and I'm a little bit mad that this was in the pre-show, because this is a game I would have been interested in, and potentially you would be, because I was probably a trailer out. When I joined the live stream to view it, I was maybe a trailer ahead of it, and I was kicking myself because I was like, I didn't get to see this until I saw the announcement on Twitter afterwards. So I don't know why they didn't put all the new announcements in the main show. Maybe they don't think it's good enough. I don't know. Roadcraft. It's Saber Interactive's new game. Our favourite developer, Focus Entertainment. They've got a new game. Another one.
You say that. I genuinely think they are my favourite developer. I'm just loving everything that comes from them. Like, they're great.
Yeah. I know you weren't impressed with Expeditions, but I think this one looks like it's trying to take the SnowRunner sort of DNA, but have it so you're actually building roads. So it's the sort of similar narrative where a natural disaster has happened in areas, and instead of transporting stuff, obviously in SnowRunner, there are places where we have to build bridges and things like that to go across some places, but this is all about the road. So it's more of combining a bit of a construction sim. So you're still sort of getting this more heavy duty stuff, sort of thing. So you get to clear debris and faulty equipment, and you basically rebuild roads and bridges. And it's coming out next year in 2025, and it has a new version of their engine. So they've done a new version of their in-game engine. And you can handle each object with realistic physics, accounting for the mass and size, interact with elements like sand, wood, and asphalts. So there are things like bulldozers, heavy transporters to carry those other machinery, so you can have numerous things on site at once. Fixed or gantry cranes, pavers, rollers, stuff like that. So construction stuff, really. There are over 40 vehicles as you progress through the story-driven campaign. And there are 8 unique maps, each which are 4 kilometer squared in area, with their own biomes and buildings. And you can collect remnants of wood, steel, and cement and transform them into components in your recycling plants. And every piece of debris can be used for reconstruction and has co-op up to 4 players, which is more expected from Saber Interactive. So yeah, I think that sounds pretty good. And looking at the trailer, it does look more SnowRunner, less Expeditions. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no. So I've just watched the trailer as well, and my comment was going to be, it feels like the spiritual successor to SnowRunner.
Yeah.
It takes that essence, and to be honest, I think if I was going to go with what's next from SnowRunner, I think that's the way I'd go with it as well.
Yeah.
Because I know that's what I wanted, but that's what I want now.
Yeah.
I've added it to my wish list. I want that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure after Expeditions if you trust this or not, but I'm thinking this is definitely more. I get what they were trying to do with Expeditions because they wanted to appeal to a more casual audience, but it just didn't. Even as someone that has bought it and played it, I sort of regret buying it because it's not the SnowRunner experience that I was expecting. Like, it's fun and all that, but it just doesn't feel where it belongs with an existing audience, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I must be honest. The scouting side of SnowRunner and MudRunner before it was never the bit that I enjoyed.
Hmm.
The bit that I enjoyed was the hauling materials and completing the jobs.
Yeah.
So yes, expeditions never really appealed. I mean, I know I've talked about this before,
Yeah.
but it never appealed to me because it was playing more into that scouting side, and it just wasn't something that I was excited about.
Yeah.
But as I say, this, I mean, as you said, obviously we've got a little bit of that, world building element in SnowRunner. That's something they brought in, but this goes more into that, I think, or at least from what they're showing in the trailer.
Yeah.
It looks like they're going more into, okay, well, if you want to do world building, you can do that yourself rather than being a cutscene.
Yeah.
I like that, and like I say, it feels like it's captured the essence of SnowRunner, and it's continued with that, which, yeah, I'll definitely be buying this.
I think also all these sort of materials and stuff, there might be some sort of, I'm going to say, Factorio element into it, where you put materials into a particular factory and it produces something which you can then use. I think that's my sort of interpretation with it. So that's, I think, cool as well. Sort of more of a factory element of it producing something. But yeah, this is basically like them removing all the roads from SnowRunner. No roads, just plain off-road, and you've got to build the roads where you'll be traveling. Yeah,
I just on that what's the word? Construction side, or recycling side rather. They didn't really show much of that in the trailer, so I'll be interested to see more on how that works.
Yeah.
Because my worry at the moment is it would just be a drop-off pickup. In terms of how we pick up materials and stuff, or components, or whatever it is in SnowRunner.
Yeah.
It's just that you press a button and it plop, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm worried it'll be a little bit like that because they haven't shown it off. But you never know. We'll see what comes of it. I'm sure we'll see more.
I'm hoping it will be like Construction Sim, which I've played. In Construction Sim, it does have a sort of area where it's designated on, but you do most of the work of everything, and all the physics of all the, if you're laying asphalt and stuff, you've got to be fairly accurate, but the game will sort of do its own thing to assist you a little bit, but not too much, if you get what I mean. Yeah. So, for example, if you were rolling all the asphalt so it's all flat and stuff, I think you would have to do basically 90% of the flattening, and then it would sort of auto-complete the rest of it. So you would do the majority of it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to explain something, but it's easier if it's more shown. But yeah, I think you're getting what I'm getting at.
I do know what you mean. I've not played the latest Construction Sim, but I've played ones before it, so I understand.
So if it's anything like that sort of sophistication of combining basically Construction Sim with SnowRunner, I think that's going to be a happy player base, because it seems it's more of the core audience as it's going towards. And of course, the up to 4 players bit as well, which is expected, and happy to see with that. Yes. So maybe when we finish SnowRunner in 7,000 years, we can start Rowcraft.
I was gonna say, finish SnowRunner. You're ambitious.
We're never finishing SnowRunner. Never. It's not happening.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I want to play it. I do want to play it, but
we are so behind.
I don't think we're going to finish it. Yeah, we are. Really are.
Could we aim to try and keep on top of Rowcraft when that comes out, maybe?
I don't like our chances.
No, neither do I. Anyway. Yeah. Now the next one is going to be a little bit exciting for you. This is Secret Level. And this, oh my god. This is an anthology series by Blur Studios. And it involves Warhammer 40k as a TV series, and each episode is going to be on one game in particular. And it's from the creators of Love, Death and Robots, the Netflix series, and all that kind of stuff. And there's a whole list of games. I was excited to even see sort of. I think that one of the only things that I sort of recognised was the Space Marine sort of armour in there. And I got, as someone that's not really a Warhammer fan, even I got excited because I thought, oh, that's going to be really cool to see. But I don't know what
that's the right answer.
I just got excited by the entire thing. The fact that this is, by the way, this is going to Amazon Prime as well. So if you've got Amazon Prime, you can buy it. I have a feeling you have some things to say about this.
I do. I've already seen this trailer.
Yeah.
Because when it was announced, it also went up on the Warhammer page. Because obviously they wanted to promote their bit.
Yeah.
What they shared in that is the Space Marine episode, wherever that falls into the series, is a tie-in to Space Marine 2.
Ah.
So it is actually going to tie into the story. I don't know where it falls, whether it's before or after or during. I don't know. But it will tie in to Space Marine 2. It will follow Titus, and I think the 2 Space Marines that go with him in the campaign.
Yeah.
So yeah, it will be quite nice to see that and see more of Titus. I mean, you know from all of my my gushing about this game, Titus is a well-loved character in the fandom, so it'll be really nice to see this. On that point as well, just whilst we're talking about Warhammer and Amazon Prime, this is separate to Warhammer's production deal, let's say, with Amazon. So they're still working on shows, movies, whatever, separately to this. And I mean, they've not given us any updates on that yet, but they said more will come in the future. Yeah. But I just think it's really cool that there's going to be an episode that is a tie into the game. All right, it's coming out after the game, but it will be really nice to see that, and I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah. So the list of games, by the way.
Oh yes.
So we've got Pac-Man, obviously Warhammer 40k. Okay. Concord is in there. I have no idea why Concord's in there. Okay. Not a very well received game thus far, but it's in there. Mega Man, Unreal Tournaments, New Worlds, Armored Core, Spelunky, Honor of Kings, Sifu, Dungeons and Dragons, The Outer Worlds, Crossfire, Exodus, and various sort of PlayStation games, including, I think, God of War and stuff like that. But that's the sort of... that's really why I think majority of it I didn't really recognise. Some I only probably recognise a few, like the Space Marines and stuff like that, some of the PlayStation stuff, and Pac-Man, Mega Man, stuff like that. Because there's a lot of stuff that I'm not definitely familiar with. But I think it's going to be interesting to sort of watch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely saw God of War in there, so that'll be interesting to see. But no, I agree with you. I think it'll be really interesting to see some of these, some more than others, but popular games, getting a TV showcase, let's say.
Yeah.
Getting a little bit of a showing to a wider audience. I think that's quite cool. I think it's cool that they're doing a different theme for each episode. I'm sure I'll sit here wanting more of each episode, as is always the case. But no, I think it's cool. I think it will bring more people in or introduce more people to these worlds and these games. And yeah, maybe it will bring more people into gaming, which is always good for the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I would almost imagine sort of Apex Legends, Overwatch, maybe Valorant doing that, because although those are sort of hero shooters, which obviously aren't your cup of tea and more mine, but the great thing about those sort of games is they are very lore heavy. And so sort of the cinematics are really nice to watch, and I can imagine them doing this sort of animation style and stuff like that in something like this, which would have been really nice to see as well. Maybe if this does really well and they do another series, maybe add some of those in, maybe. Because as I said, all those games, you know, you might not be interested in them, but they're very lore heavy, and the lore is always very interesting and sort of engaging because they always do these accompanying animations to enhance the lore and the story, along with these seasonal updates, particularly Apex. There's a lot of that, and obviously Blizzard with their animations with Overwatch, because every hero that they introduce has a origin story and sort of some sort of tie into the overarching lore. Yeah. So I'll be very interested to see if they take one of those up maybe in the future. So that's secret level. Moving on to Delta Force. This is the game I claim you're interested in. You have said you were interested in this. You have probably forgotten by now.
It's me, yeah.
So this is the game that will have the paid campaign, but free-to-play multiplayer and extraction shooter. So this is based off a game that was around years and years and years ago, and is currently having a playtest, which I've been playing as well. And do you know what's funny about this playtest? Is there's no end date. We don't know when it's ending, but loads of people have access to it. So, you know, yeah, it's a bit weird. They've actually changed the name of it now, so it's now just called Delta Force. It used to be called Delta Force Hawk Ops, but now it's just Delta Force. It's easier to say, which I sort of agree with. Yeah. Yeah, so, not only that, they've announced that it will be playable at Steam Next Fest in October. Now, if you don't know what Steam Next Fest is, basically 4 times a year, Steam do an event where you can play demos of upcoming games. And I've sort of read into this, probably because a few months ago, I was sort of starting to develop my own game of myself with a friend. And we had a look at Steam Next Fest. And basically the rules of this: you can only submit one title to one Steam Next Fest. Once it's been submitted to a Next Fest, that's it. You cannot submit it to another one. So you tend to put it into a Steam Next Fest before its release date, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and there's going to be PC Early Access in Q4 2024. So everyone... at the moment, the playtest is based on keys. You can get keys in their Discord. There are Twitch drops, all that kind of stuff, and request through Steam if you want to as well. I have a feeling it might be ending fairly soon. I have a feeling, although there's no actual end date. I'm just speculating here, because it has been out for a few weeks now. Right. Yeah, I have a feeling that at Next Fest in October, everyone will have access to it instead of just keys everywhere. So it might be something that you might want to have a go at. It's got a Battlefield-style multiplayer, and then it's got an extraction shooter. And I think you said you were maybe interested in the extraction shooter, maybe. Which is kind of fun. I've played both. It's fun. It's got a bit of destruction. It does have operators like Battlefield 2042, but I feel that this is done sort of right. And honestly, playing this, it feels like a full release. It doesn't feel like an alpha, because it's in alpha right now. It's an alpha playtest, and it feels really good. Gunplay feels good. Everything's just smooth. There's hardly anything wrong with it. It feels ready to go. And this is also going to be coming at some point to consoles and mobile as well. But that'll be later down the line. So they'll want to do PC first and then bring it out for everything else. So yeah. And remember, this will have a paid campaign as well. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Thoughts?
Yeah, I had forgotten about it. You're right.
Yes.
There's no denying it. This is me we're talking about.
Yeah.
But no, watching the trailer, it has got me interested again. And yeah, I want to give it a go. I'm not sure if I'm going to sign up for the playtest or just wait for the game to come out. Yeah. But it's another one I've added to my wish list.
I mean, as I said, you can wait till October where it's on Steam Next Fest and you can play it anyway, where everybody can. Yeah, instead of waiting for a key that you may or may not get. Yeah.
Yeah, I might just wait. I mean, I've got, let's be honest, next month all I'm going to be playing is Space Marine 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
it's undeniable. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. But yeah, if it's sort of October time that I'll be able to have a look, then yeah, I'll keep an eye out, definitely.
Yeah. So that's Delta Force. Right. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. We got a Gamescom trailer. We didn't just get a Gamescom trailer, we got a date reveal. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Now, I've had a concern of, we've seen Indiana Jones a couple of trailers now this year, and I was like, where the hell's the release date? Because it keeps saying 2024. And I'm sure you might have sort of shared this same opinion of, well, it's almost 2024 feels like it's almost over, but we haven't had a release date until Gamescom. And it's going to be releasing on December 9th for Xbox and PlayStation. Which goes on to my sort of next point. It's going to be releasing for PlayStation 5 for spring 2025. This was meant to be slated as an Xbox exclusive, but now it's PlayStation 5. Now, if you remember, a few months ago, we covered the Xbox podcast with Phil Spencer.
Yeah.
When the internet was all in panic where Xbox might be exiting the console industry or gaming industry or whatever. So we were very interested to talk about what they were going to say. And do you know what Phil Spencer said back then? Yeah, Indiana Jones and Starfield were not going to the PlayStation. But now it is. Whether he meant as of right then or not, I don't know. But it also seems very quick. Spring 2025 starts, in March? So that's 3 months after the Xbox release. 3 months, it could be anywhere between March and, May? For spring? Yeah. So minimum of 3, maybe a maximum of maybe 5. I've heard of exclusives being 6 months to a year, but never this short.
Yeah.
There's something that's a little bit off about that for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one. You're right. It does seem like a short time for it to be exclusive to one side rather than the other. Although, is it not coming out on PC?
Yeah.
It's not really exclusive.
Yeah, we say that, but all Xbox games come to PC anyway. If you think about it. Forza Motorsport is an Xbox exclusive, but it also comes to PC. I don't count that in the exclusivity sort of aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it certainly works the other way around, though. If it's a PlayStation exclusive, even if only for a certain amount of time, it doesn't come to PC until...
Yeah. But that's only because Xbox obviously is owned by Microsoft, and Microsoft have Windows, and that makes sense, that ecosystem.
I don't know. I mean, like I say, it's an odd one, because you're right, it does feel like a short period of time. But then it could just be maybe they've decided actually they don't want to go that harder stance on it. Maybe they don't want to just do exclusives. Maybe, I mean, I'm sure we talked about this on a previous podcast that, we're starting to see a shift where once upon a time, in fact, we did discuss this previously on a podcast.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, cross-platform play was non-existent. It was a pipe dream.
Yeah.
Anyone that suggested it was laughing, right? A fool. Whereas now, cross-platform play is kind of the norm. And it's kind of expected, if not straight away, to come out pretty soon for most games with an online presence. I think, going back to what you were saying, really, it's kind of just speculation at this point because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
He said one thing and he's obviously, whether he's changed his mind on that or someone else has convinced him that they need to go in a different direction, we don't know. But it'll be interesting to see if there's more things like this in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too bothered about it really. It's just it feels like a really short amount of time. It just made me think maybe have they actually delayed the game internally, but we don't know because they're being clever about it because they haven't revealed the release date till now, when they definitely know. Because think about it, they could have wanted to release it maybe now-ish sort of time. And the exclusivity for PS5 has been, or the availability for PS5 has been just set in stone and it can't be moved. But they've moved the release date of the Xbox version. We don't know that for sure, but it's my guess that they've maybe... Oh yeah, they've not revealed to the public it's been delayed, but they've delayed it maybe. Maybe they pushed it to December. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, like what you're saying there, it could be that it was meant to come out in, say, October, November time, and actually they want to spend a little bit more time polishing it, but they've got an agreement with PlayStation and Sony to bring it out in the spring. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It could well be that.
Yeah. I mean, from what we've seen, all the gameplay stuff, obviously there's a bit more gameplay in this trailer by the look of it. Gameplay looks good, it looks polished, it looks very, very Indiana Jones, as we would expect. And it's during one of the interviews, we got a bit more information about the game, which was quite nice. There's a disguise mechanic in the game, just like in the films, Indiana Jones would, disguise himself as whatever to get into certain areas, and you can do that in the game. But there will be AI and people that can see through that disguise. So you'll need to do actions in relation to your disguise so your cover doesn't get blown. For example, I think the example that they gave was if you're a waiter, you'll have to do some waiting just so they know that you're on their side and all that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, that sort of expands that sort of disguise mechanic that we've seen previously in games and thinks it through.
It's not just a case of, they look at you long enough and they see through it.
Yeah.
Like, no, you actually do things and they go, oh, no, they're doing the job. Fine.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They also sort of covered saying it's going to be very much melee-focused combat with dodge and a parry system, which, again, is very Indiana Jones. He's very much a brawling type rather than using his revolver, although he does use it. It's more sparingly if we see him reference the films more, I think.
Yeah, it's more of a last resort than...
Yeah. And that combination with whip and fists and everything, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And also an interesting thing about the sort of... you get adventure points when you sort of take pictures of things, which will lead to unlocking perks as well. And the clues that they've done are proper puzzles. So they've not been dumbed down in any way, unlike in any other games. So you have your journal, which will assist you in these puzzles as well. And you can take a picture of whatever it is, and you'll actually get a clue from Indy himself. So if you're a little bit stuck, you just snap a picture and he'll give you a clue of what exactly you need to do. And that will help you if you're a bit stuck, which I think is useful for the people that might get a bit frustrated at the puzzles or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it's kind of like, although I'm not probably the best at puzzles, I'm quite glad that it's one of those things where it's not been dumbed down and it's a proper puzzle that you've got to go through to find whatever it is, artifact, just like in how Indiana Jones would be like. He would have to figure all this out himself, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
And in relation to those perks that you get, one of them that they mentioned was the True Grit perk, which is a sort of second life. So if you die and you have the True Grit perk, basically he drops the infamous hat on the floor, and then True Grit enables and he picks it back up again with the sort of score cue to it, as you would expect in the films.
That's cool.
I just think that's just a really cool thing that is so Indiana Jones sort of thing. Yeah, and
definitely.
It is looking like Machine Games are really grasping this Indiana Jones aspect, sort of thing. I know you said you're not a big Indiana Jones fan, but like, what are you thinking looking at this trailer and all this sort of new info?
Yeah, it sounds quite cool. Again, I'm not sure if this is a game that I'm going to pick up because I don't have that kind of connection to the franchise that say you do.
Yeah.
But it does look pretty good. I'm sure you're going to play it on stream at some point, so I'm sure I'll watch that.
Yeah.
It looks interesting. Definitely looks interesting. The mechanics sound really cool. It sounds like they've really gone to town to make it feel accurate, if you get what I mean. No, it sounds quite cool. There's some really cool things in there. I especially like that thing about the disguise system.
Yeah.
Really like that.
I think that one other thing is the audio team went to some sort of professional for the whip sounds. So they had a really good fun of getting all the sounds for the whip. So the whip should sound really authentic and really good. There's a job description that involves a whip, and I can't remember what it's called, but they used something. They said they visited someone in Sweden or whatever, because I think Machine Games are from Sweden. So they've used someone, obviously, in their country to do that. But I just, little things like that is just really cool to hear, the fact that the audio team had a good day out just recording that.
Just talking of the whip, actually, I did notice in the trailer there is whip physics.
Yeah.
When you whip someone, it then trails on the ground, and I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
It's not just it comes back to your hand or whatever.
Yeah. So this was another thing that was mentioned. There's a combination of animation to the whip and actual physics. So it's a combination of both that you'll experience when sort of playing, which is really cool and really nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that's the new exciting Indiana Jones news. Whether I have enough money by December 9th is another question. But we'll see. Right. The next game I want to sort of briefly touch on is the Mafia games, because there's a new Mafia game coming. Mafia: The Old Country. And it's coming out next year in 2025. I've only played Mafia 3. I do want to play the other two, but I quite liked Mafia 3. I liked the gameplay. I liked the story. I had some fun with it. And this is the origins of the organised crime in Mafia: The Old Country. It's a gritty mob story set in the brutal underworld of the 1900s Sicily. And you get to fight to survive in this dangerous, unforgiving era, with action brought to life by the authentic realism and rich storytelling that the critically acclaimed Mafia series is known for. We only really have a sort of teaser. There's not really much to that 60-second sort of teaser trailer. But I'm sort of glad that we have a new sort of Mafia game on the horizon, because I think it's going to look pretty cool, and it's sort of a prequel almost, which is nice. Yeah,
definitely. Do you know, Mafia is another series that I haven't played, but I've heard really good things about it.
Yeah. I just had a bunch of fun. I know Mafia 3 probably isn't the best in the series, but I had a lot of fun when that came out. And I really enjoyed it. And it's good to see the new one that's coming out. Although we don't really know much about it at this point of time. It's just a bit of a teaser. But a teaser is, something that's good. Because I think Hangar 13 did tease something that they're working on something. Or somebody did an article saying, we're going to get a new sort of Mafia game, but it's nice to see a little teaser there. Right, Atomfall. I've got a lot to talk about with Atomfall because we got some gameplay. We discussed this not too long ago because we discussed about the phone box and the fact that this is basically a British. People have been saying it's a British Fallout, basically, sort of thing. So we got.
Sorry, that's interesting. When Fallout London has recently released.
Yeah, I know. But that's what people are sort of comparing it, sort of to.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, so this is going to be coming out in March 2025. It's an action survival RPG. And yes, we had this query last time. The telephone box is functional. It actually is part of the story and the mechanics.
Yes.
Because apparently there is this voice that comes through the telephone line, but you don't know what it is. And the whole point of Atomfall is to find out what happened. That's your job as the player, is to find out what happened. It's a bit of a mystery.
Okay.
So you've just got to find out what the hell happens. There's skills and crafting in it. There's exploration. And this is in a post-apocalyptic quarantine zone in the 1950s north of England. So you're going to be hearing a lot of northern accents. I know that's something you're not very familiar with, Joe.
That's it. Nah. Turned off now. Don't want to play it anymore.
Well,
why would you want to play in the north of England? Honestly, nah. Terrible game. 0 out of 10. Would not recommend.
Oh my god. And this is actually developed by Rebellion. And you might have heard of them, but you might have heard of what they're known for, which is the Sniper Elite series.
Oh.
So it's those guys that are making this game.
Okay.
Which is an interesting and different sort of direction for them. And even you are a mystery as the player. So you may or may not discover with your interactions and things with your character, there's sort of no indication of age, race, gender, etc. for you, which is also quite interesting. But I think the way that the developers worded this in their interview was you can find this out if you find it out. Like everything else in this game, it's a bit of a mystery. So you'll have to find the clues, sort of thing. And you get to choose which characters you trust and don't trust. So there's that sort of mechanic of RPG in there, of interactions with other characters. Can you trust them? Can you not? Sort of thing, which is also interesting. And there's mixed melee and ranged combat, including cricket bats. Yes, you can whack someone with a cricket bat if you want to.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Weapon of choice.
Absolutely. And resources are very limited, so if you do find a gun, it might have 3 bullets in it. And everything's a bit scarce, but you can craft stuff as well. And most of the guns you'll find might be a bit rusty. I mean, this is a quarantine zone that you've been in for 5 years. I think I count, although it's classified as 1950s, I think you're actually in 1962 specifically. And this is actually all based on a true story. Do you know about the very first nuclear disaster in the world?
I'm not sure.
Well, don't worry, because I'm going to tell you anyway.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's based off Windscale in 1957 in Cumberland. Now, Cumberland is now called Cumbria. So Windscale's Unit 1 core caught fire and melted, which led to large amounts of radioactivity to release to the surrounding area. And it ignited an estimated 11 tons of uranium and contaminated much of the surrounding area and reached as far as mainland Europe.
Wow.
Yeah. And there were more than 200 cancer deaths that are attributed to the disaster, which is considered to have been the worst to occur in the West.
Wow, blimey. I had no idea.
Yeah, so that happened in the 50s, basically, and was the first nuclear disaster ever, which I wasn't really aware of. But it's based on this story, so I think there was a quarantine and all that kind of thing for it all. So that's where it's sort of based off. Hence why it's based in the north of England, because it's based on that event there. But obviously, as we know from the trailer, it's got that more supernatural, maybe twist to it that obviously the devs have added. But the main premise is to put it around the Windscale disaster in 1957. But obviously that's 5 years later, so you're in the 1960s now. But technically everything would be still themed in the 1950s because you're in this quarantine zone, so nothing's developed. Nobody's come and gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting. And I think we got basically 15 minutes of gameplay, and I'm loving it. I don't know about you. I really love
I'm just
this
watching
game.
some of it at the moment. It looks quite good, actually. I quite like it. The combat seems is a little bit janky.
Yeah.
The way he's hitting him, and I don't know, it just seems a bit odd.
Yeah.
But no, it does look quite cool. I quite like the idea of the story behind it as well. And I'm interested to see some more of this. I might end up picking this one up, actually.
Yeah, I feel that the amount of games we get based in the UK is very limited. So
yeah,
to me, automatically, I want this game just because it's based in the UK. Yeah, it's based in the past, but you know, it's something that's quite cool because it's usually when someone bases a game, it's usually London. You know.
Yeah.
Case in point.
Yeah, that's true.
Watch Dogs Legion. You know. Yeah, like it's good to see somewhere else and somewhere a bit more obscure that maybe not a lot of people know about. Particularly worldwide, I'm more talking about.
Yeah.
Obviously,
definitely.
someone from the north knows of this area. Yeah, I didn't know it was called Cumberland before it became Cumbria. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see that come March, which is will be a game for me for next year. Okay, I want to talk about one last thing. Joe, get your wallet ready, or prepare yourself. We're talking about Moza. Dun dun dun. So Moza were at Gamescom. They have their little booth. They did.
Tom.
Yeah.
I see the pictures.
Yes, you do see the pictures. Just wait. They've announced the multifunction stalk for all the indicators and stuff for wheels.
Oh no!
And you can pre-order it.
Oh no!
Yeah. It is £195, by the way.
Oh, Tom.
They announced a few things, but I'm only going to cover two in the podcast today. Yeah, we've obviously been looking forward to this for a long time to see when they're actually going to release it, and they announced it during Gamescom. And you could physically see them if you were at Gamescom at their stall, at their hall, with a bunch of other stuff that they had there. This thing has 28 programmable switches. It has auto-cancelling turn signals, wiper and headlight controls, cruise control functions, and is compatible with all Moza wheelbases. So it doesn't matter which wheelbase you have, it's compatible.
Tom, it looks fantastic.
It does. It looks really good. It looks well crafted. It looks like it came from a real car.
Oh, this is dangerous.
It is very dangerous because let me get you into some more money calculations.
Yeah.
If you bought the TSW wheel rim, the trucking wheel rim, which is $299, and the stalk, it would cost you £494. Yes. Now, if you bought the wheel and the stalk and the R3 bundle, which is $399, it would cost you £893. However, if it's the R5 bundle, it would only cost you $953. So,
nearly $1,000 on a bloody wheel setup.
Yep.
Oh, this is not good.
This is going to have to be a thing that you'll just have to add later, I have a feeling. I know you really want it, but you need the wheelbase first.
I was going to say, it's like all of it. I'm going to have to buy it all in stages because I'm going to have to get the wheelbase. It's going to be the R3 bundle. We know this.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get the wheel later on. And then I'm going to be like, oh, well, now I need the stalks. And then I'm going to get the stalks. I just...
Yeah.
My wallet hurts already.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, obviously we were expecting this, and it's good that they've announced this. But it hurts. It hurts Joe's wallet, unfortunately, very much so.
Oh, I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Oh dear, we are in trouble.
Yes, we are, Filch.
I also wanted to highlight a rim that they teased before Gamescom and actually had at Gamescom, which I was very surprised at. Because they have a replica steering wheel for the Porsche Mission R. Look at that rim. That rim
I do like that.
is fantastic.
It looks so clean.
I know. So this is an officially licensed replica. There is no price tag attached to this yet. There's just a notify me about when it's available, which might mean it's limited in editions, but it's probably going to be very, very expensive because it's officially with Porsche.
Yeah.
So this thing is a 5.4 inch flexible OLED display, a 300R ultra curved high strength tempered glass to it. Oof. Fully customizable UI. It's got, here's another wheel with a quad core high performance processor, just like the one we talked about last month.
Why do you need that for a wheel? I don't understand. Moza, look, at this point, I'm convinced that Moza does not live on this planet because it's just ridiculous.
And that is a 720p display at 60 hertz. Yeah, it's another expensive, very much high-tech piece of kit, providing real-time data on speed, lap times, tire pressure, battery status, ABS, traction control, the works. And you can completely customize the UI, as I've said. But wow, it's a machine, all right. And it'll probably
not happy, Tom.
It'll probably cost more or double than the entire Moza setup that you want. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I'm not happy. Moza needs to apologise for just everything.
Yeah, they're becoming the new Fanatec. Fanatec used to be very good at all this. They seem to be dropping the ball a bit. They've obviously had financial issues lately as well, and all sort of drama with CEOs and stuff. But yeah, Moza is on the up and up again with more cool stuff that we want but can't afford. We look, not touch, and not buy.
Don't like it, Tom.
No.
Don't like it. I'm gonna have to spend. In fact, I'm gonna have to start selling limbs to pay for my Moza setup, which I won't be able to use because I've sold all of my bloody limbs.
Yep, that'll do it. That'll do it. But yeah, I just wanted to show that little Porsche wheel. It's just really cool and looks really clean and nice.
It does look really nice. I agree with you on that. Oh, I need to stop looking at Moza stuff. Oh, let's go away. Right.
Do you want to talk about Warhammer?
Yeah, you've upset me, so I'm gonna talk about Warhammer now because that will make me happier. All right. So, guys, it's time for the Warhammer update. The last Warhammer update until I can gush about how brilliant Warhammer is. Right. Again, at time of recording, I have a week and 4 days. I had to work it out. A week and 4 days until I can play this damn game. So excited. I've never been so excited for something in all of my life. We have had more trailers, and also what I've noticed recently is they've sent out review copies because I've noticed quite a few YouTubers playing the game and giving their thoughts on it. Seems to be the co-op mode that they're playing. I don't know if it was maybe that they got to play some at Gamescom, perhaps?
Yeah, there was a demo at Gamescom as well, yeah.
But yeah, I've been seeing a lot of this, and it has me excited even more. So we got to see more gameplay, and we got more information. I'm going to start with some of the information. A lot of it has been going over what we've already talked about, so the various different multiplayer modes, following the story of Titus, things that we know. But I need to make a correction on my earlier breakdown of the game modes, because I thought it was single player PvE and PvP. And I thought the PvE was the co-op mode that they talked about. But I can't remember the fella's name, but he was interviewed by IGN, and they were obviously talking about, he's one of the sort of, I don't know if he's the CEO or something, or he might be one of the lead devs. Anyway, very important person. He said that the single player or the campaign mode, your buddies will be able to join you and play as the Battle Brothers that run with Titus. So there is actually a co-op mode as well as our PvE and PvP that we talked about previously. So that is something that I didn't realise, I didn't understand from previous videos. It may be that I've misunderstood. So please take that with a pinch of salt. I could be wrong, but that's certainly the way that he explained it, and I understood it. So there's more, Tom, there's more for us to play through together.
So the guy that was interviewed is the Chief Creative Officer at Saber Interactive.
Ah, there you go. The CCO.
Yes.
Yeah, very important person, and obviously has a lot of information. But he talks a lot in that interview as well about how they designed the story, and he said that they wrote the story for the game basically in conjunction with Games Workshop writers. So it makes me even more confident that it's going to be really accurate to the lore. I mean, I already knew that from all of the gameplay that we've seen so far, and even the trailers, to be fair, are just showing sort of the adherence to the lore and the sort of the gratitude they're showing to that. But no, it just kind of confirms it a little bit more, which is always nice. It's always nice to hear that. We've also seen that the classes have been revealed, which is a little bit more about the PvE and PvP modes that we'll be looking at. So there are 6 classes altogether. You have Tactical, which is your standard sort of ranged gameplay. You'll have, I think, a combat knife, and you'll be able to do a little bit of that close range, but generally you're going to be using, kind of your basic bolt rifle, that kind of thing. There's also the Assault class, which is a jump pack and melee focus. Interestingly, seeing a new weapon that was not in the first Space Marine, which is the Power Fist. We haven't seen that before, but that's going to be coming, so that will be quite interesting. The return of the Thunder Hammer as well, my favourite weapon. I get to jump in the air and pound the ground and watch everything and go poof. It's great. We've also got the Vanguard. Now, the Vanguard, I can't quite get my head around how this is going to work in terms of gameplay. It's light armor. You get a grapple launcher to close distance quickly, but like based on the model that they've used from the tabletop, it should be kind of like a bit of a scout, but the gameplay doesn't seem to reflect that. So I'm not sure how the Vanguard is going to work. I'll be interested to see a little bit more of that. I don't know if it's going to be a class that I play or not, but we'll see what comes out of that one. I mean, it's a little bit vague from what I've seen. It doesn't seem like a lot of people are playing it, so it's hard to gauge it.
Yeah.
The next one is the Bulwark. So it's a little bit like the Assault, but rather than having a jump pack, you have a shield. And again, it's a very melee focused class. That's the word. You do still get a pistol with it though, so you can still get a little bit of range damage in. But yeah, it's I guess you're kind of going to be soaking up some of that damage. Next is the Sniper. Now this one I feel like doubles up as the Scout because it has an invisibility cloak. And having seen the breakdown of the weapons, yes, there's a couple of different snipers that you can use, but it also has like a carbine, so it can do sort of close range stuff as well. So I feel like that will work really well as the Scout class. And you get some like bombs and stuff that you can use to just melt enemies, which is always great. And finally, we have the Heavy, which, as the name suggests, heavy weapons, heavy armor. You are a literal tank walking around the battlefield. So each of the classes gets some kind of like power up. Unfortunately, I didn't make a note of them, so I can't go through them. But the Heavy has basically like a shield that it can throw up. So you and your buddies can hide behind the shield. It will soak up the armor whilst you shoot through it. And then, you're basically there to just take punishment and deal a lot of it out as well, which I can see myself enjoying that. That sounds quite fun.
Out of those classes,
Go on.
Out of those classes, what do you think you'd be playing, just based on what you've just said?
Do you know what? I'm struggling to decide. I like the Tactical. I know it's very basic bitch, but I like that kind of gameplay, and I like the flexibility that it gives. I can see myself playing Assault just so I can grab the Thunder Hammer and jump around and smash things up, because that'll be great fun, and I'll have hours of joy doing that. And again, I think the Heavy will be quite interesting to play every now and again, just because I think it's because of the heavy weapons rather than the armor or the shield or whatever. I don't know. What do you think? What kind of interests you from those?
I don't know, because this goes on to my sort of next question I wanted to ask you is, obviously, based on, Space Marine 1, is how viable, obviously, it's got a lot of melee stuff, so I'm assuming range stuff and melee stuff is very as viable as each other, because usually in games, melee is more specialized and is more of a higher skill level, isn't it, usually? But how does that reflect in Space Marine? Yeah,
so from the trailers, it looks to play quite similarly to Space Marine 1. Space Marine 1, it was very much a mix of the two. So you had your range gameplay, and obviously you wanted to shoot as many enemies as you could before they closed with you. But one of the things that Space Marine do really well, and Space Marine 2 is definitely doing well with the Tyranids, is they throw a lot of enemies at you.
Yeah.
So whilst you can sit there and shoot at things for a little while, you do suddenly have a lot of at least very basic enemies on top of you. And it's just at that point, you can't really do ranged gameplay because there's just so many and they will surround you. So you need to then switch to, your combat knife or your chainsaw or whatever it is that you've got.
Yeah.
And start slashing things around you to clear a bit of space, and then you can switch back to your gun. Space Marine 1, it was very fluid, or switching between the two styles of gameplay. So, and like I say, from what I've seen of the trailers and from content creators, obviously playing this demo at Gamescom, it seems to very much still play like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll see more once we start playing, but that mix is definitely very important.
Yeah, because obviously from a classic first-person shooter, obviously melee is very much a rare thing to happen, but obviously this is a different sort of game, so obviously I haven't really sort of played this sort of game before, so it's just kind of how viable is that, because that sort of would determine what I would go for, really. Because honestly, I think that the only sort of weapon that's piqued my interest, which is your favorite weapon, which I've seen, is the thunder hammer. Looks really fun to use.
Honestly, it was the most fun weapon in the previous game. I love that thing. In fact, I'm surprised. I was having a look at this the other day. I'm surprised I don't have a model for the tabletop that has a thunder hammer, and I need to fix this. I need to fix this because it's just wrong. Because
I don't know, I feel that I might even go a more melee-focused sort of class, just because it feels more viable. It does make me think, because I saw someone, when they did their sort of preview at Summer Games Fest, they said that they tried out the sniper and didn't feel it was very viable because the cooldown for the invisibility was a bit long and it didn't really was as viable. I don't know if you think sniper is going to be one of those swept aside classes, because as you said, and when I watched the interview, they've said that with the new engine and technology they've got, they're throwing so many more enemies at you at any one time. So
yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I feel like the sniper is going to be quite useful against some of the heavier enemies.
Yeah.
Because as much as you have these kind of basic swarm enemies, your very basic Tyranids, you have these. The word I've seen someone use is champions, which kind of fits quite well.
Yeah.
That are heavier armored or are a little bit more durable and can dish out more damage. I feel like the sniper's going to do really well against those. I've also seen there are some kind of air quotes bosses that you can go up against that are massive and will be a combined effort between the three of us to take down. Again, I feel like the sniper will dish out some heavy hits against that. But I suppose it comes down to the question, well, would the heavy not do a better job? Would the heavy not deal out more damage there? I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it plays. Look, let's be honest. I'm going to play every single class because I'm going to want to unlock everything. I'm going to grind the hell out of this game. And yeah, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays. I kind of see what you're saying there. I haven't seen the cooldown on that invisibility cloak.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it might be something that they revisit in a balance patch.
Yeah.
If a lot of people are kind of giving the same feedback. Obviously, we didn't have the beta test for them to try some of these things out and get a large amount of feedback on. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like I said, I'm going to try all of them out. We'll see how we feel about each of the classes. And yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what we all kind of default to as our favourite classes.
Yeah, I think I'll just have to play and see, because obviously I'm more of a support person where I heal and all that kind of stuff, and that obviously isn't really applicable with all this.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting you say that, because I'm surprised we don't have an apothecary class. But actually, in terms of support, the bulwark might work for you.
Yeah, because obviously in any other FPS or whatever, no matter what it is, I mentioned right at the start with Mecha Break, I usually default to a support where I'm healing my teammates and I'm doing that stuff and I'm not really doing damage. Sword and Shield isn't really a type of gameplay I've really done much in any game, but maybe, you know, I'm sort of going towards that, maybe. Or maybe something like Assault or even Vanguard, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Bulwark and Tactical, from what I've seen, seem to be the most supporty classes. Because Bulwark, you have its special ability is you place down like a chapter banner, and it increases the armor regen. So, you know, that's quite a supporty skill. Tactical has an Auspex scan, so it highlights enemies of interest or priorities, I guess. And I don't know if it gives you a buff to your attack, maybe. But obviously it's going to help to identify what people should be focusing on.
Yeah.
So yeah, they seem like the most supporty classes. Vanguard, like I say, I can't quite gauge that at the moment, but I'll be interested to see how that plays out, like an actual gameplay.
Yeah, I feel that would suit people that like to be a bit more mobile with the grapple launcher. People like running around the map and going all these different flanks and stuff, and like mobility.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so that's the classes. I was going to go through the weapons, but there's too many to list. There's at least 4 or 5 options for each class, and for each of those, you know, 4 or 5 options, you can also unlock different skins and stuff, which I think have different stats as well. So it's not just the physical look, but, you know, one might have a higher fire rate, one might have more damage, might be more punchy. Like, there are benefits to each type of weapon. So that'll be another thing to think about and look at as we unlock and grind and play through this. What I was going to talk about, though, is armor customization. But a little bit of this has been shown off. At the moment, each class is going to be releasing with about 5 or 6 different armor sets. Again, this will be something that you unlock as you play through the character. And it very much denotes kind of veterancy, I think is the word. You know, the more you play, the more ornate the armor is that you unlock. So you start from the most basic battle brother in your basic gear, just armor, you know, painted up in your colors, to at the top, I think we'll take the Tactical as an example. You've got an ornate helmet with a full-on like Roman, can't think, like the brush thing. I can't think of what they're called.
I know what you mean.
Top.
Yeah.
You've got medals and gold adornments and purity seals and ropes hanging across your armor, and, you know, bits of fabric hanging from the belt. Like, you look like a captain, to be honest, right? It goes mad. The jump pack for the Assault gets like these golden wings on it and everything. It looks great. There might be more. They have said they will release DLC down the line and add more content, so we might get more armor sets later on. But I think 5 or 6 armor sets per class is pretty good to start with.
Yeah.
And the way that you can customize it as well, you can either choose it as a set. So, you know, you want to go with set, I don't know, let's say 3, which is kind of halfway through, and you want that for everything. Cool, you can pick that. Or you can choose by individual pieces. So you can choose armor pads, you can choose the breastplate, you can choose a separate helmet. You can kind of customize it to all the things that you like, which I really like the sound of. And then finally, you can change your paint job as well for the PvE and PvP modes. Obviously, the campaign is very much kind of set. I don't think you're able to customize the armor, but for the multiplayer modes, as it was, you can choose from existing chapters, so Ultramarines, Dark Angels, Imperial Fists, Salamanders. There's loads in there, but you can also unlock paints. And interestingly, the paints are named after the actual Games Workshop paints.
Oh, nice.
So if you have a little pot of paint, for example, yellow is Avalon Sunset. The yellow that you unlock for the Imperial Fist is Avalan Sunset. So nice. you can kind of match it up with your models, which I thought was a nice little touch. Very thematic. But yeah, so you can you can get these paints, you can unlock them, you can earn like credits in game by playing through, and you can spend that on the unlocks. Yeah, and again, you can use these once you unlock certain paints and colours and what have you. You can then create your own custom paint jobs for your Space Marine. I don't know what the extent of that is yet. I know you can choose separate helmet colour to armour colour.
Yeah.
But I don't know beyond that how much customizability you've got. They've not really shown that deep into it yet. But a week and a half, we'll find out. Or, well, a week from when you guys see this,
yeah,
I'll find out. And I'm so excited. Can't wait. I mean, Tom, I take it you've been watching some of these trailers as well. Is there anything standing out to you that looks quite interesting?
I don't think so, not really. It's just... I've just been watching it, really, more for your benefit and to just try and understand it when we go and do these podcasts a bit more.
Fair.
Because obviously you talk about it a lot, and I'm like, yeah, cool, right,
Tom,
okay.
It's the Warhammer update. Talk about it. I don't know what I'm going to do when we stop this. Like, next month is going to be my last one. I'm not going to have Warhammer updates to gush about anymore. I'm going to be lost.
Until they do a fancy new update to Space Marine 2 that adds like 17 different new classes or something.
Don't get me excited. No, I'm interested. I am interested to see what kind of DLC and content they add down the line. I have no idea what they will add, but yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be good.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was. My friends, I was in a Discord voice chat earlier, and a couple of my friends are interested in this game and getting it day one. And they're like, oh, this weapon isn't in the game. I can't remember what it was called. There's a weapon that's missing that they were looking forward to, and I can't remember what it was.
Oh.
Anyway, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, doesn't matter. It's fine.
All right, go on, Tom. I know you want to talk about another game that you're very excited about.
Yeah.
So why don't you take us into it?
I missed this out for Gamescom because I already had this separate topic for today, which is obviously Star Wars Outlaws, which was present at Gamescom, and we got a bunch of stuff because, yeah, I was going to talk about the PC specs and the Season Pass roadmap, which we are going to still do, but we're going to talk about the Gamescom stuff first because that's exciting. So we got a launch trailer for Star Wars Outlaws. We also got some gameplay over at Gamescom, and we got a first look at Akiva, which is the jungle planet in that gameplay, which hasn't been seen before. We've seen a bunch of the other all the other planets that we've seen, but not Akiva. So it's quite interesting to see how different it really is compared to everything else. And Akiva is very Empire, Pikes, and Hutt's presence. It has all those three on that planet at the moment. And we also get a look at the workbench with your blaster. It's not too far from the Jedi games sort of thing. You go onto a workbench and you can work on it on different aspects. Instead of a lightsaber, it's all the blaster components and stuff. So I suppose that's sort of familiar to everybody. But yeah, the gameplay looks good. And it's just, I don't know, it just looks really good just to go through it. And just looking at the world itself and Akiva just in the background of as Kay is walking around just looks really full of life and really cool. Probably because it's new. We've not seen this before. Yeah, it just looks really nice, really plush, and really, really, really cool. Yeah, and by the way, the speeder is actually based off a motocross bike, by the way, on how it performs and how it is.
Oh, okay.
Which I can sort of kind of see with the way that you traverse from what we've seen before, you know, when we traverse and go over jumps and the way it goes over everything. Obviously, motocross is more of an off-road bike, isn't it? But yeah, I can kind of see the inspiration and the sort of why they would base a speeder off of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously we get to see a different sort of cantina on Akiva of the different culture and the different sort of way that this is different. because it's a jungle planet. So it's got a bit of a different culture, and it's going to be completely different than, say, the cantina in Tatooine, Mos Eisley, than what we already know and love. And you can see that, which is, I think, it's within a couple of minutes of that gameplay footage that you can see, and you can just see the sort of differences between everything, and it looks really refined, and I'm just excited for it because it looks really good. Despite that one-off video from IGN that posted, it looks good, it looks crafted, and I'm excited to see where this goes. And I just love ND5 and Nyx and everything about it, and it's just great to see. They even did a interview at the IGN booth with Humberly Gonzalez, who plays Kay. She did the motion capture for it as well, which is cool to see. And she is from South America. She's sort of Latina, sort of. So she apparently, how she got into Star Wars was she obviously heard Star Wars through Spanish, which was obviously something a little bit more interesting than that other side of the world. And the fact that when she got the role, all her family were asking questions and all that kind of thing because it's kind of exciting and yeah, and there was even they did a video, Star Wars Outlaws did a video about bringing the likes of Nyx and ND5 to life as well. So we had a bit of an interview with D. Bradley Baker, which we mentioned last month, of doing all the different little noises and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just they actually use a puppet on scene of all the motion capture as well of Nyx. So it's not just there. The puppeteer did a bit of a puppet and puppeteered everything in there, and so everything looks very much natural. And
that's cool.
And also the actor that did ND5 has had to sort of, it's been animated with the riggers later on to make it more droid-like, but even the actor said he had to really change the way that, because he did the motion capture for ND5, and having to sort of be a droid in a sense of there's no emotion in what you're speaking and there's no gaps in how you're speaking, so he had to adapt so much to change for that character to make it believable, including his movements as well. He's having to move like a droid and speak like a droid, but obviously they refine stuff obviously in post. But it was interesting to see and watch that video of them going through all that.
I suppose there's an inhuman element that you have to try and replicate, which I imagine that's the challenge. That is the real challenge. But I suppose that's also what makes a role like that kind of interesting. For any actor. And
also in this gameplay we got to see a bit of customization as well, and the what's the syndicate called, the one that's featured in Solo with Maul. Crimson Dawn. Yeah. So there's a Crimson Dawn outfit with Kay, which might indicate there's a bit of maybe disguise or access of areas potentially with places as well. And what was interesting with this gameplay was one of the missions required you to go into an Imperial compound, which is obviously guarded by ATSTs, and you have to do it by stealth. But what the creative director said is you can come back later and do it with sort of loot it from all its goodies any way that you want. You don't have to go in stealth. You could go in guns blazing, but it's probably not going to be pretty for you. Sort of thing. But the fact that you can come back to these outposts that were official missions and you can approach it however you want, I think is really nice to see, because there might be something that you've missed, or you might have to come back because you don't have a certain skill or a certain upgrade or something. Well, I suppose it's like any game. I mean, we saw it in Jedi Survivor as well. You need a certain ability that you haven't unlocked until later in the game, and then you can go back and explore new areas or get items, whatever it is, or things for customization you can unlock later on. That's cool. What are your thoughts of the gameplay? I know you probably only watched a couple of minutes, but what do you think?
I've been trying to watch a little bit of it in the background. It does look interesting. I mean, look, it's a Star Wars game. I always love a Star Wars game. I'm still not sure if I'm going to pick it up. I want to wait and watch you playing it and see how I feel about it a little bit more. I don't know why. I just, look, we all know I'm not going to have time this month to play it anyway.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
I'm not going to leave Space Marine 2. I think I'm coming down with some kind of sickness because I'll have to play it 24/7. Oh. No, I'm joking. But no, it does look interesting. Once again, I know I'm wavering back and forth on whether I want to play it or not, but it does look quite cool. And the more I'm hearing, the more I find it quite interesting. I like the idea of the speeder gameplay as well.
Yeah.
Speeder bike. I want to see more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Look, I realize I'm being very wishy-washy with this game.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick it up because it's Star Wars. It's just when I pick it up.
Yeah. And I just love Kay's just use of tools and stuff. Obviously, you've got the binoculars, you've got Nyx as a tool as well. And the sneaking around, you can use them as a distraction, you can use them to attack, all that kind of stuff. You can use them to cheat in Sabok. You want to play a bit of Sabok. Because he will sneak around and tell you what cards they have. I have no idea how to play Sabok, but obviously by Star Wars Outlaws, I will learn how to play Sabok.
I'm sure it will teach you.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will teach you. But yeah, that would be that would definitely be interesting to see.
I love the fact that you can also have these little arcade games, the little arcade machines that you can just play just for the sake of it. And also we've got the whole mechanic of you can pick up little things from just being in the cantinas and overhearing things. You know, the sort of space horses that you bet on?
Oh, yeah.
There is a way to not actually tell which one's going to win, and you can overhear that with a conversation. Oh, yeah, it's this one, or it's this one. So you can bet normally, as any normal person would, or you can try and hear from someone else of what's happening with, because let's be honest, as we know from probably, which one it is it Last Jedi? No, I think it's Rise. Where's the casino one? Is it Rise of Skywalker where they visit the casino, or is it?
It's Episode 8.
Or is it Rise of? Is it Last Jedi?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, as we know from there and the racing on there, we know it's a little bit scummy and a bit rigged, maybe. People full of money. I am expecting that with this game because it is about the Outer Rim. It is about being a scoundrel and all of that element. But that the sort of overhearing stuff doesn't just stop there. You can hear about, you can access this area by doing this, or there's this item that is of value over here. Sort of producing side quests just by going into a cantina, sitting down and overhearing what can be heard. I think that's really cool because it's authentic to how being a scoundrel would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And I just love that. I love that. So I want to talk a little bit about the PC specs because they released this a couple of weeks ago for PC. And it's interesting to see because the recommended specs for 1080p 60 is an RTX 3060 Ti 8GB card or a AMD RX 6700 XT, which is 12GB card, which is quite beefy. That's recommended with an i5 or a Ryzen 5 5600X, 16GB of RAM. That's just recommended. Enthusiastic, as in 1440p 60 high preset. You've been with an RTX 4070, and then Ultra is a 4080. It seems very graphics. I would expect it to be more graphics heavy, this sort of game, from Massive Entertainment, really. It seems a little bit lighter on the CPU, because Enthusiast has an i5 or a Ryzen 7, and then Ultra is an i7 or a Ryzen 7. Obviously, as always, I'm a little bit skeptical of optimization and all that kind of stuff, but this is the first time I've seen specs where my graphics card isn't at the top. I have a 3080, and it's not in the Ultra or the Enthusiast sort of high-end specs no more. So obviously my graphics card is getting on a few years now, because obviously games are getting a bit more intensive. So maybe I can't run it at the max settings that I would normally expect my machine to be able to do. But hey, that's fine. If I can run it on high or something like that, I'm still going to be happy, sort of thing. I'm also interested to see if these specs are with or without ray tracing and stuff like that. Because that will contribute to frame rates and things like that. I don't know. I know you probably don't know too much about specs, but you probably will recognize a lot of these graphics cards. I don't know what you think.
Do you know what? I was looking at this earlier, whilst you were going through some of the things from the trailer. My concern is those are very high specs. Even the minimum seems.
I mean, the minimum.
Not necessarily the minimum, but the recommended seems quite high.
Yeah, the minimum is okay because you've still got GTX cards in there. An i7 8700K is a few years old anyway, but it's 16 gigs of RAM all around, which is fine. But yeah, it's the graphics cards that's definitely, even at recommended, you're like, oh, 3060 Ti. You know, bear in mind my machine's a 3080, so I can probably do a little bit more than recommended. Bear in mind, but
you're still not going to be much better off.
Yeah, but that's with the high preset. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It just certainly on the GPU side, it seems like the requirements
very
are quite
heavy.
high.
Yeah,
and I feel like that might cause problems for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because also, I think the other thing, we have to remember that not too long ago, there was a massive shortage of graphics cards.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, myself included, probably decided not to bother upgrading their graphics card because it became so difficult to get hold of them, became so expensive to get hold of them, that I feel like a lot of people are in a similar situation to me where they just went, I'm not going to bother. It's not worth it.
Yeah, funny thing
and now they're going to have trouble playing.
I think on the back end of that shortage, my other PC's graphics card decided to give in. So during that time, I sort of had to buy a PC with that in mind. In fact, they ran out of one of the graphics cards that I was going to go with. I think I was actually going to go for a 3070 or 60, but they ran out and I wanted my PC ASAP, so I upgraded to a 3080, which was a bit more expensive, but it's been doing well for me in the long run thus far. Obviously, I've had some issues with frame rates and stuff when I've been streaming, but not streaming and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. Finally, I want to talk about the Season Pass because this is exciting. I think I've slightly mentioned some of the Season Pass things to you. But obviously, the Season Pass roadmap. We've got a Story Pack 1, and they actually did a small video highlighting a bit more information on what these would entail. So there's an exclusive mission with Jabba's Gambit. Obviously, you still visit Jabba during the main game if you don't have Gold Edition or Ultimate Edition, because the Standard Edition does not have the Season Pass or this exclusive mission included, which I think is a little bit scummy, but this exclusive mission is just an add-on with Jabba the Hutt. There's obviously the character pack and the Kessel Runner, which is very Han Solo inspired, as you could probably tell. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's 2 cosmetic bundles. There's the Cartel Ronin and the Hunter's Legacy, which is cosmetics for K, Nix and your speeder, and the Trailblazer, which is your ship. And those 2 cosmetic bundles and the Story Pack 1 will be coming fall 2024, so it'll be not too long after launch, actually, where we'll be getting Story Pack 1. And this is where we have Lando Calrissian involved. In the wild card, it sort of references him. You can kind of tell. You can link the 2.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then Story Pack 2, which is spring 2025, Pirate's Fortune, where we get Hondo Ohnaka involvement in Star Wars Outlaws. Yes.
Alright, you might have just sold me on the game. I'll play it for Hondo.
Yeah, so Hondo's going to be in a Pirate's Fortune.
Do you know what? I was joking, but no, I might actually get it just to meet Hondo.
Yeah.
Man.
And I think lots of sort of Star Wars people were like, oh my god, we're getting to see Hondo? What? Because he's so great.
Hondo's great.
He's so great, isn't he, in the Clone Wars? And it's like, yeah. I do hope they've got the OG voice actor for him. Even if they don't, I do hope they've done a good reenactation of the original voice.
Yeah.
I feel like his voice is just part of his personality and something that we would expect. Yeah. He just has that unique, raspy, piratey voice that we just expect.
I don't know. Do you know what? I want the original actor back to do his voice. I think we're right if we don't get it.
Yeah. But it does seem exciting. That comes out in spring 25, so I cannot wait to see how that all entails in a pirate's fortune.
Okay. No, that alone might have sold me on this game.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I told you or not, because I remember when the info originally came out, I was messaging everybody that I could, thinking, "Oh my god, Hondo," and all that kind of thing.
No, I don't think you told me that one. I think I've heard about the other bits.
Yeah.
But that one's new to me. Yeah.
So that's going to be very, very much interesting.
I want to be a Hondo.
And by the time the podcast comes out, I'll probably be playing Star Wars Outlaws if I get the Gold Edition. I haven't pre-ordered it yet because I don't pre-order way in advance. I pre-order like the day before. Because it makes sense, doesn't it? Really.
I mean, it's still a pre-order.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still beforehand, isn't it? Yeah. I'm probably going to get the Gold Edition because this is the game I've been looking forward to since it was announced. I've been so happy with it. I love the music that's been brought into it as well. And it's just, to me, it's really exciting. And I love it, and I just can't wait. Time of recording, it's a couple of days away. But by the time it's out, I'll be already playing it, and it's going to be fun, and I can't wait. I just hope my machine can handle it. Yeah. That's obviously my worry with a few games coming out this year. Can it run? Because there's been a few games lately that haven't been great on optimization. I just hope I can run it. Because really, the first time I'm going to be running it is on stream, and that's a risk in itself. So I'll be streaming that on Twitch, exclusively, story. And if I'm on a non-stream day and I want to play it, I'll just stream. That's just the way it's gonna have to be. Yeah, that's just the way it's gonna be. Yeah, so that's coming out officially on the 30th of August, with the early access being 3 days early on the Tuesday. I'm excited, cannot wait. And I think that wraps everything up.
Yeah. I feel like we've covered quite a lot today.
Yeah.
But then, it's been a busy month. Lots of things to be excited for. And if you guys are enjoying this, please do ensure that you give us a follow, give us a rating, and any kind of review you can on the podcasting platform of your choice. Our next podcast is going to be the 25th of September. It will be our birthday podcast.
It's one day after my birthday.
And one day before mine.
Look at that. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
I was about to say that. So come and join us for our birthday podcast. I have absolutely no idea what we'll be doing yet, but we'll find out as we go on our adventure through all things gaming, fandom, and what have you. Please do join us for that. You can stay up to date with us by joining. You can stay up to date with us by following the podcast on our socials. You can find us under Fandoms Edge on Instagram and YouTube. Tom, are there other places people can find us?
Not really. It's just Instagram and YouTube for Fandoms Edge. Yeah.
Fair. We can also both be found on our own Discords, Twitters, YouTubes, and Twitches. Links will be in the description somewhere down below or anywhere. Yeah. Tom can be found under Maverick RNG, and you can find myself under FamilarForce. But we've rambled on for long enough. We will see you in the next one.
On the Fandom's Edge.